Hello, welcome to Farmspace. It's always a pleasure coming to Hurwitz Farming, and we normally like to point out these are the 1, 2, 3 or 4 bulls that you need to like and need to watch out for. This year is a different story. I came here, struggled to pick 1 or 2, and we're going to discuss all of them. So watch out, look out throughout this video. You're going to have the opportunity to listen where every bull comes from and what they're made of, and it is really something special. Bulls that come from progeny that you all know, they poster boys, and they progeny of those poster boys. Come have a listen. Simeon, how's things going?
Dennis, welcome back.
Always a pleasure being here.
So windy Darvel.
As always.
Always.
As always. Simeon, yes, we've spoken back in the day about Nickon, we've spoken about Picasso, we've spoken about all these big names, Jameson, and we come back a few years later and then the progeny stands behind us, just showing what they can do and why they are those poster bulls. Quite a few good bulls at this auction, but let's start at the beginning. You select from almost 200 bulls, am I right?
Yeah, even more.
That's where your first selection after Christopher's been here, after everyone's screened, you have to pick for 2 auctions from 200 bulls. It's a process. How does that process work, and what do you guys do?
It's an interesting exercise, tennis. Maybe one day you must come. Look, you have to be here for a few weeks, but that's how it works. So yes, you're quite right. We start from a big group of animals to start off with. When we do those, mandatory society inspections, those are done generally 24 months, a little bit older. We like to do them, push it as old as possible, give the bulls a bit more time. Maybe some people like to do it earlier, don't know, but 24 months is pretty much the standard. That's the mandatory inspection, and thereafter it's every time that we work the herds, regardless of who they are. We go through our selections, we cull, we keep, we change, we do whatever we need to do to manage the process. And then when it comes to established bulls like these, which are 3.5 to 4 years old, where we like to identify them for auctions, we don't like to sell them much earlier than 4 years old in an auction, if not older. The Boran breed just matures, I think, with age like good wine. So when we get to that stage and we've got a big herd to look out at, then yes, we are around about the 200 odd animals, and then we shrink and we shrink and we shrink, and we doubt ourselves and we make decisions and we come back and we say why, and that's how it works. And eventually, then we start looking at the blend of the sale, the balance of the sale, the genetics on offer, the duplication possibly, because with embryo flushing one does get duplications, and we look at that as well. And then we look at the EBVs, we look at if they're proven size, how have they bred, how haven't they bred, if they're potential size, where have they come from, what have the dams been like that they've come out of, the fertility lines, the milk lines, etc. Because the bull has a huge impact in the herd. It's not only 50%, it's generational impact that the bull has in the herd. I think our reputation as stud breeders, specifically in the Boran breed, after a few years now, successful years, has been to establish sires for other breeders out there. They look at us, with holding up a nice beacon of hope, I suppose, as far as their sire battery is concerned, as to how to make an impact in their own herds. They look at us for that. It's huge pressure on our shoulders. But at the same time, once we've blended and focused, etc., we're down to a handful of bulls which is standing behind us. There's 9 bulls left out of that initial selection, and at the same time it's 9 bulls that must be balanced for a sale. They can't all be skyscrapers, but they must all be excellent bulls worthy of any sale, and something that we are proud to put on an auction.
Simeon, when you look at the animals standing behind us, you always got something special that you put together. You've got 2 brothers once again, 2 born brothers. Where do they come? Let's start. Who are they and where do they come from?
Very special 2 born brothers, genetically very special. Their names are Jigsaw and Ginger. They are Hot 1024 sons, direct sons, which is, Jasmine, I think the most famous cow in the breed, certainly by reputation, which makes them also half sisters to bulls like Jester and Joker and Jumbo and Jackto. These bulls that have really done tremendously well through the sales ring. So they're half brothers to those. And on the sire side, they're out of 717. Who's one of the absolute forefathers and legends of the breed. We were lucky enough to get semen of that bull, years ago, and we've used the semen, and we decided to try and throw a legend on a legend and see what came out of it. So there were 3 brothers that came out of that particular flush. One of them we've already sold. We sold one to the Muller family, Muller Boerdery. Johnson was his name, and these are the other 2. So again, just shows the willingness, I think, from us as stud breeders to be able to part with the animals, part with the genetics, and share. I think that's the whole idea. Share the genetics, share the herd, and share what we've been able to create and produce. Obviously, we've retained semen in all of the bulls, and we'll use the semen, I think, strategically when and if we want to, and how we need to. But the bulls are here, we've bred them. It's time for them to go and make their impact on other herds, like they are doing. So the bulls that we have sold, the Facebook and the WhatsApp photos and pictures and messages that I receive daily is it's a very humbling experience. It gives me a lot of pride. There's a Yiddish word for that, nachas, actually. Somebody can go and look up what that means. But that's really what it does. It gives me a hell of a lot of emotional satisfaction for us as a team effort for what we've been doing, creating over the years, to have our footprints in other people's herds and really doing the talking.
So when we walk into the bull ring today, some of these legends are up on the walls, and they're the poster boys, as you call them. Then I remember back in the day, I was so impressed with Nickon as a bull, and then we see a few years later his progeny standing here next to us. His progeny, what can you tell us about it, and what's so special about this bull?
The Nickon bull you're referring to, the Nickon son, yeah. His name's Costa. BH 2091. His mother is Cecilia, who was a record-breaking cow when she was sold to Mutanda Farms in Zambia, named Cecilia.
That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, roughly in the October sale, the summer sale. Yeah, she set the record of 600,000 Rand for a cow. This is her son. And Nickon used on top of her, and when you look at this chap that's standing behind us, Costa, he's carbon copy, if not an improvement on the father, because he came out of a great mother who was a Hublot, she's still alive, a Hublot daughter. So if we start to really talk about legends, and it's the true word, legends of our herd, legends of the breed. I mean, the combination of Nickon plus Hublot is the result of Costa with Cecilia on the dam side, and Nickon comes out of a fantastic Enbor cow, Naomi. See, I know these animals backwards. That's Enbor 08 on 80. This is just genetic explosion of amazing cattle that have really been pulled together to produce what stands behind us. Now, I've said it 100 times. It's easy to sit in an auction and it's easy to buy, but to actually create and make and try your best and make the mistakes, because believe me, what we see here is the positives, but there are also negatives. That's the nature of the game. We have to deal with it. But yes, to combine those mother lines, to combine those sire lines, and to create the product that's standing here is really, as I said, a very proud moment.
Yeah. So I want to move on to probably one of your favorites. Extremely good bond bull. When you look at him, I think that is the sort of picture you want to see in a Boran. There's absolutely, I can't see anything to fault him on. Breeding bulls like that year in, year out, we've spoken about it in previous years about the amount of work you do in embryos and AIs and that sort of targeted, we should call it a progeny that you want to produce, and then you produce something special like that. What's his name? Where does he come from? Cyclone.
I was assuming you're referring to Cyclone. Cyclone is really, for me, tennis on another level. That has no impact on what he will or won't sell for, and if I decide to keep him or sell him or hold the reserve, I don't know. But that for me is undoubtedly the best Boran bull that we have ever bred. By far. He's a Picasso son out of Cremora. He's an improvement on Picasso. Now, people will probably criticize me for such a statement, but I'm making it. I think he's a better bull by far. He's as balanced and as structurally correct as possible, and he was as a standout calf, actually. So we've used him. It's time for us again, as I said, retain semen and move him on to somebody else who wants him, who can appreciate him. His full brother is also at Mutanda Farms, Chagall, who's doing a fantastic job there. So again, two tremendous animals that are his parents. His length, his depth, his balance, his temperament, his color is also, something unique. And I really do. I think he's an improvement, and I really stand by what I say vehemently. He is the best bull that we have ever bred, we have ever produced, and we have ever offered on a sale. And I think whoever is lucky enough to buy such a bull like that will have an impact for his grandchildren's days to come. I mean, if the Boran breed showed, and that's not really giving my opinion on showing or not showing, but if the Boran breed showed cattle, a bull like that, I think, would walk out with many ribbons.
Definitely. When we drove in here, I saw the Red Bull Lexus. For me, it caught my eye immediately, and I just like the way he moves. He's got the attitude, the way he stands, and that typical Boran characteristics what you want to see. Yes, just tell me a little about the bull, what you see in it, and why it made it to the auction.
Yeah, Tennis, as you're talking, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I mean, really, what a phenotypical, amazing bull that is Lexus. I mean, he's a standout bull. As you see him now, as he came out of the cows when he was finished with his breeding program for the season, he hasn't lost an inch of weight. He's an absolute herd sire, proven and predictable breeding. So on the sire side, he's out of Seiko. Seiko is a bull we sold as one of the highest price bulls many years ago.
I just want to say, that's another poster boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We still use it. Yeah. We still use his semen in the herd. So Seiko we sold to Henk Buerta, BFT Boran, down in Kokstad area. He's really been a huge impact maker in his herd, who is a 717 son, going back to there again. But the dam side for me on Lexus is an exceptional cow, BO7177. We bought her on a dispersal sale from Norval, Johannes Norval. You know, I think that she was the envy of that sale. She came, we picked up as many daughters as we could on the same sale as she has. All of her animals, all of her progeny have had a huge impact in our herd. And I think that the reason why Lexus is so amazing is really because of that cow. Lolo is her name. Last year on the August sale, we sold progeny out of Lolo, the same line. They all sold fantastically well. Her dam line is a foundation cow out of Kenya, Kim 19, who's rare. And I think that the whole combination of Lexus is something that speaks for himself. And when you look at him and his presence and his size and his shape and his head and his masculinity and the depth and everything else about that bull, he's an out and out supreme herd sire.
Simeon, when we look at these bulls, and I think we've got one or two more left to discuss, but I quickly understand by just mention something that does stand out in the Boran. There's certain lines that just have that predictability, and they just, if you use them correctly, they just work. And the more you use them, the more predictable they come, and the better they become. And it seems like here at Hurwitz Farming, you're starting to get that. I want to say that recipe. You've got the recipe down, and you now know what's working for you. I think we've got Ferdinand that's still left. Tell us a little about Ferdinand. Where does he come from? What's he all about?
You're quite right, Tennis. And the reason why we talk about these animals by name now, never mind by number, is because of their reputation. And their reputation is only created by how they're bred and what are their progeny like. And that creates their own internal demand and the external demand to have something from those animals. So, I mean, that's how it works, actually. Ferdinand is another classical example of a standout bull. He's a Jameson son. Now, Jameson was a record price bull years ago. We sold to President Ramaphosa's and Tabanyoni herd. It was a fantastic bull, and next to him were a few calves. And one of the calves on foot when we sold him was Ferdinand, who's on sale now today. Now, his mother is Felicia. She's a fantastic cow, FN08 233. She's still alive. We still flushed her this year successfully. She happens to be a full sister to Hublow's mother, Haley. So if you look at, again, that dam line, who ultimately goes back to the Winnie cow, which is the foundation cow of the breed, 96615. It makes Ferdinand line bred to be 96615, which is predictable progeny that he is going to produce, and he's breeding it for us as well. It's another herd sire that we've used in our herd, that again, it's time to make him available. And as a standout calf standing next to his dad, at the time when we sold the dad, he was the bull that everybody wanted to buy. I mean, the people were more interested in the calf being Ferdinand than they were in Jameson at the time. So here's the opportunity a couple of years later. So you're quite right to combine the names, to combine all the cattle. And then the other bull that we haven't touched on yet is Goodyear, the jumbo son.
Oh, so the other good one.
They're all good, and that's why I say they've all been handpicked for a reason. Now, if we talk about combining the female lines, now Jumbo comes out of Jasmine, that hot 1024 cow, and on the dam side is Ginger. Now, Ginger is a household name as far as the Boran industry is concerned. A cow that's made herself famous in Quentin's Fustrup herd, moved on to Tom Breitenbach's Renaissance herd, and the impact that she has had as a cow line back to KPO 303, you know, which is the mother line of Goliath and Graphics and all those other bulls that came with it, has done tremendously well. So now we've gone and we've combined Jasmine with Ginger, and look at the result. A phenomenal bull. He's muscular from top to toe. He's deep and he's wide. He's predictable. We've used him also in the herd, you know, as a sire. So if we have the confidence out of the amount of cattle that we farm with on this farm to have produced and have used and now offered to sell, then that also comes with a different, you know, proudly Hurwitz Farming stamp of approval. But if that bull, I mean, was on any sale anywhere in the world, he is by far the standout bull. He's really from ear to ear a world-class animal.
Yeah, it's also when I saw Goodyear and Lexus standing next to each other, I went, oof, I'm glad I don't have to buy and choose between those sort of two animals. That's just something special and something great, especially if you're looking for that typical Boran look. Then those two do catch the eye.
Yeah.
Simeon, what an auction, and I think we've got another surprise. You are offering the bull.
Yes, quite right, Tina. So you always like to be first at the race, eh? No, that's great. We've got, yes, so we always have a bit of a spin on things. So I think, you know, our auctions, especially our August auction, has been known to have a bit of a battle. This time we're bringing two battles into the game. So we've got the Battle of the Brothers, which is the two Bont Hot 1024 sons, Jigsaw and Ginger. I think that's a nice little battle. They complement each other by size and by shape and by attitude. So I think that those are two nice little brothers. People can choose which one they want. And then the Battle of the Siblings, which we have done once before, which worked out very nicely. Back in the day, Elof Miller won the race, and he had decided to take the bull, which was Samson, who went on to be a good herd sire. And this time it's Ferdinand and Felicia. Now Felicia is obviously a sister, full sister, came out of the same flush. And she's being sold as a 3-in-1 with a magnificent heifer calf at foot, Bont heifer calf at foot, out of Jasper. You know, who's again a full brother ultimately to all those famous bulls that we mentioned. So the genetics there is something that's going to maybe make people think, you know, once, twice, and 3 times over. Maybe some sleepless nights before the auction, I don't know. But that's the twist, that's the sting in the tail, and hopefully it's a good auction.
So thanks for your time. It's always great being here. I'll be back before the auction. Can't wait for it, and we'll talk soon.
Pleasure, always, Tennis. Thank you.
Okay, make sure you're at the Hurwitz auction. And from my point of view, if I have to choose between a splendid cow and a splendid bull, I don't know. You can't breed great bulls without great mothers. But yeah, a bull can be half your herd. You never know. Until next time, cheers.